Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on Become a Database Millionaire. Paige is with me out of camera view real quick. She's pushing this live out to Facebook and also waiting for a bunch of our attendees to join. So real quick, I see the number going up. So we're going to wait about 30 seconds and we're going to get started. So excited to have our Rhode Island crew in the house. 3 top agents today with us from Rhode Island. Thank you to Dean and Nivea with the brokerage out there in Rhode Island helping us get this off the ground. But I'll introduce our 3 rock stars here in a minute. Going to give everyone about 15 more seconds to join. So pop up one window. There we go. And get ready to go. Are we good? Okay. All right. I'm getting the thumbs up that we are good to go. So welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Become a Database Millionaire, week number 2. So what we're doing here throughout 4 weeks in a row here in October and November, we are going to be talking about building, expanding, engaging, and then obviously harvesting a database for us as realtors. And we talked last week about how, according to the statistics, 90% of customers love us in year 1, 92%, and 5 years later, sometimes they don't remember who we are. And that's our opportunity to make sure they still know 5 years later who we are. And I think the most recent stat, 82% of a realtor's business comes from their sphere of influence and from their database and marketing. So we're going to dig in here. In the fall, we're going to do a business builder about building, expanding, engaging, and harvesting a database. And then after the first of the year, we're going to go talk about how to actually specifically target listings. So thank you all, though, for being with us here today. As we talked on the last week's show, this is how we're doing it. So over a 4-week time period, we're talking to top agents around the country. Today, week 2, we have Samantha Duran, Paula Gallant, and Deborah Gianni from Rhode Island. I'll give you a little more background on them here in just a minute. Next week, we have Deanne Gladwell from Illinois, and then in week number 4, Bruno Arapovic from Arizona. Last week, we had Jay Friedman. We had great comments. Jay up in Sacramento shared a lot of great stories and highlights. So I love this format, and I thank all of our top producers for helping me do this. So for those of you, if you've just joined us, but you haven't yet signed up or gone to download your kit for the Database Millionaire, please go to homesmart.com/database millionaire. And at that page, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to sign up, enter your first name, last name, download your kit. You'll kind of see a schedule and everything that you need to do, the 5 ways to get started here with Database Millionaire. And, and then we do these Millionaire Mondays where we really get together every Monday, share stories from top agents and what's working for them. So here again, the schedule, just for those of you, block out your next 2 weeks. So block out the 29th as well as November 5th as well. We're here in week 2 of this Database Millionaire. Now, results. Why are we doing this? Everything that we do in marketing and in real estate, it's number 1 about serving our customers and taking care of more customers. And if we do that, then obviously we get results, we get more business, and we grow a healthy business. So we've found that if we do things right with our database, agents, they're more successful and they grow a really strong business. So what we'd like you to do is we go through this week's topic, and as you go into the weekend and you apply these concepts we talk about, would love you to go to Smart Agent Ideas, our private Facebook group, and share your results. Post up, hey, I tried that idea that Samantha in Rhode Island told me to do, and it worked for me. And give each other encouragement, share your ideas. So go into our Facebook group and share your results. So without further ado, since we have 3 rock stars with us today on the show, we want to make sure we have all the time. So I'm trying to keep my intro short. And, we're going to have our great team here in Rhode Island, Becoming a Database Millionaire. So I have had the pleasure of meeting all of these three wonderful real estate agents in my trips out to Rhode Island. They're just a great team, or a great group of agents. They're all three individual agents. They're not operating as a team, but they all have different perspectives. So I wanted to have all three on the webinar with us here today to talk about what works for them. So what we're going to do, we're going to just share their stories. And without further ado, Samantha Durand, Paula Gallant, and Deborah Gianni. Now, Samantha, one of the things, we're going to start with you here this week. One of the things that I remember prior to the awards banquet in Rhode Island last year, I was like, hey, are you a listing agent? Are you a buyer's agent? You know, what is it that, you know, you do? You're like, oh, I mostly work with buyers. I hardly ever do work with listings. Then that night, you won the award for being the top lister in Rhode Island. And for me, I just love that story because you're like, I was working. I just work. I don't really, you know, I just work, and find out you had a, you know, great year. I remember I have that one picture of you. You're holding 4 of your trophies. Like, you know, it's pretty fun. So, so Samantha, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to start with the 4 areas, and then we'll go through all three, and then Deborah and Paula as well. So when we talk about building. At one point, you were not a real estate agent. And at one point, you decided to become a real estate agent. And how do you begin to engage with customers? So what did you do? How did you get off the ground? How did you begin to build a database?
Sure. The very first thing I did was I told all my friends and family that I was in real estate. I was always upfront that I was new. You know, I'm a new realtor. Give me a chance. You know, I want to, you know, start building a business. Tell your friends and family that I'm also in real estate. I'm working under so-and-so. I won't do anything. Like, I think people's biggest concern when I work with a new realtor is that you're going to assume how to do business. Like, you're going to, you know, decide for them whether or not it's a good offer, or you're going to assume anything. And if you have a good broker above you that can help guide you and work through different obstacles with you, people are more trusting. And as long as you're honest throughout the process, you always, you know, will get that respect from your clients. So I told everybody I was in business. Second, I just started writing down who I knew. I think just I'm a naturally, like, you know, talkative person. I like people. I could go to the nail salon, grab a coffee, and make a friend anywhere. So as I started to realize just the people that I cross paths with on a daily basis, or people that I've spoke to recently, I wrote their name down and I got their email address. I always wanted the email address. Phone numbers are great, but if you have their email address, you can at least email them stuff. And if you have their home address, you can mail them things as well. So
Awesome.
I started by figuring out everybody I knew, and that's that.
Hey, real quick, if you guys can either move a little bit closer to the microphone or try to speak up a little bit. They're having a little trouble hearing you, and but you're just kind of quiet. So, but I love what you're saying. So your number one thing is email address. You really want to get their email address.
Yeah, I just think people want to communicate that way. It's easier. I mean, picking up a phone call in the middle of the day isn't always convenient. So as long as you have their email and you're sending them something of value, something not so, like, I don't know, something different, it's going to grab their attention and have them remember you. Okay.
Mobile phone numbers, how about that?
Yeah. Lately, I've been really kind of crazy about phone numbers just because I wanted to start using easy text. I love those, like, really quick, like, one-line texts. And I try not to just focus on real estate. Like, it can be bombarding of people. It's like if you're a realtor and you're constantly pushing, like, I'm a realtor down their throat. Where if you're like, come to my client appreciation event, you know, I'm sending out pies for Thanksgiving. Do you want apple or pumpkin? I have a dog walk next month. Are you coming? Also, I'm in real estate. Like, if you can kind of drizzle like a couple of different things in there, you're more of an interesting person to them. So I would use that through the easy text, and then the email address for like different mailers and Buffini things and stuff like that.
All right, so last question for you on building before I go to Deborah. So do you use software? Do you use paper? Do you use your phone? What do you use to build your database?
I use the Buffini CRM. I'm pretty regimented about it. Like, if you look at my to-do list, you'll see, like, you know, or my list on each file, you'll see like 100 things I'm supposed to do, but there's certain things you can't do them all. I mean, unless I start building a team, and there's lots of different things I still need to do, but The one thing that I will never not do is gather a client's information, first name, last name, email, phone, and address. They're your client. They're right in front of you. Those are the things that I have to have, and they always go in Buffini. So I can always mail them. I can always email them, and I can always kind of keep track of them. If I can figure out their kid's name, their pet's name, their favorite restaurant, like great. But if I can't, I'll figure it out. But
Perfect.
The CRM is wonderful.
Okay, so someone asked the question, what was the system that she uses again for the database? She uses the Buffini and Company CRM software. I think it's a Referral Maker Pro or Referral Maker. Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, Deborah, on to you. So thank you and welcome for being here today. What comes to mind when you think of building a database? At some point you weren't a realtor, now you are. What'd you do to build your database and your sphere of influence?
So thank you for having me on. And I would say that I categorize myself as more old school. I'm very tech savvy, but I've been with HomeSmart since April. I've been a realtor for 6 years, and I really made it to the top quickly. And what I do is everywhere I could say everything that Sam said, it's really who I am versus what I do. So everywhere I go, if you have excitement and if you're confident and if you always have great things happening, people are like attracted to want to talk to you. I actually manage all of my database through an Excel spreadsheet. I just find that it's easy to manipulate. I have all different kinds of categories. So if I have a buyer that I start working with and we have a house to sell, I'll put them in as a buyer and a seller. Sometimes they become investors, so I'll constantly be updating my database. I'm very organized and driven by like a system, and it's the Deborah Giannini system that I've put in place. I have 30 years in the legal profession and a lot in real estate and a lot in corporate, and I worked on Wall Street in my 20s. So I just have like kind of a way of capturing things, almost like a litigation file. So when I first meet with someone, I'm really good with paperwork. So I'll input the data, and as I get more data, I keep building on it. So if I want to talk with someone, say, well, my buyers that have owned for a year or two, they may be wanting to start becoming an investor. So I'm always like being their cheerleader as to like, what do you need? Your clients have needs, they don't even know what they are. It's up to us to understand the system and be able to introduce opportunities to people depending on where they are in their life. So I use the Deborah Giannini Excel spreadsheets.
Love it.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. That's awesome. So it's needless to say, it sounds like you've built a nice, robust database over the years. Yeah. So I love that organization. Really powerful. Okay, so Paula, how about you? What's by the way, I remember you from the awards banquet too, winning all those different awards. So thank you for being here. You guys are all awesome.
Thank you for having me. I pretty much do the same thing. I use our RSA as well as the MLS Lion Desk to input all of my clients in. And I believe that, it's pretty much listening to their wants and needs and always remembering. So somebody might forget from a year ago that they talked to you, and it's like you always try to stay on top of them, and top of mind honestly is my biggest thing.
Right. Well, that kind of leads us right into how about hang on, I got to switch the screen here. There we go. Okay, so you built it, you have a system, you have a database, you've got contacts. Well, how do you expand it? So how do you grow it? So Paula, you want to keep on going and we'll work back the other direction. And like when you meet people, how do you
when I meet someone, it's not always about, hey, I'm a realtor. I like to give them my business card, but I like to talk to them and then kind of weed them into like, putting in, giving my business card, but it's not about, hey, I'm a realtor right at first. I like to have conversations with people and get to, let them know what I do.
Right.
But, getting their name, contact, putting them into my database. I have everyone in there, including my dental hygienist. Everybody in your database.
I love it. Well, I know every time that I would call you in preparing rather for the webinar here, you were always with a client, and so what's your number one tip for adding people? And maybe it's what you just said, but every single person you meet, even the dental hygienist, that you meet, and they're into your database. So, but do you have a marketing go-to that when you want to expand and I want to add more people to my database, do you have a favorite?
Not really.
Okay. All right. Just everybody you meet.
Everybody I meet.
I love it. All right. All right, Deborah, how about you?
So I tend to talk in metaphors, okay?
Okay.
So follow me on this. One of the biggest accomplishments that I've had in my life is that I'm a mom. I have 2 children, 24 and 18, and really enjoy seeing them develop. So I treat my business as a child, okay? So my child, my business, since my children don't really need much from me anymore, when I wake up in the morning, I make sure that my business at hand is planned and organized. And when and then there's the whole day, but let me talk about in the morning and when I go to bed at night. So before I go to bed at night, it's just like putting your child to bed. You make sure that you do all your sort of housekeeping with that. So before bed, I tend to use that time to sort of gather my thoughts from the day, constantly entering into the database and prepare for the following day. So that's usually when I'll enter more people in. So for example, the opportunities when I meet newer agents and they're like, well, how do you do what you do? It's who I am. And I can't say that enough. It's not what you do, but who you are. So for example, today I had to qualify someone for one of my investors for an apartment, and I called his previous landlord to have conversation about would he recommend that person as a tenant. And I knew that he was going to be selling the house that they're living in. So I immediately went into the mode of, if you need any help with selling the property, the opportunities are everywhere. You just have to stay plugged in and really listen to what people are saying. The gentleman knows I'm a realtor and he needs help selling the house, but they don't know to just say, can you help me? You have to ask the simplest questions. And this is what we do for a living. I tell everyone, if you need me to cut your grass, I'll do that for nothing. But when it comes to real estate, it's all business. And don't be afraid to be that way. I think people have more respect for you if you carry it that way. So that's my expanding.
Well, I love it. That's a great idea for expanding. So you're actually you're not waiting. You're not taking the passive wait and see approach. You're actually really expanding it and throwing it out there. Hey, I know you're going to need to sell too, adding it that way. I love it. So quick question. This database that we have, year one when you started, it had an X amount of people in it. Where is it today? 6 years later. So give us a sense of numbers. Day one, 200 people that you knew. Today, 3,000. Or is it 500? What is it? Do you give us a sense of numbers?
Are you still talking with me?
Yes, Deborah.
Okay, so I just want to make sure. So let me just say that the reason I use the Excel spreadsheet is because I have other businesses. I own a welding company and a charter boat business. So I already have a database that is Excel. And I also have used that over the years to put my children's school, list of all the students in the class and the parent contacts and things that I'm involved with the church. So I have a database that when I got into real estate 6 years ago was already flourishing with names. So if you said to me, well, gee, those aren't really real estate connections, but they actually are real estate connections, because everyone has to, for me to get business in welding, I could walk into a room of 10,000 people and I may find one client, but if you walk into a room of 10,000 people, you have 10,000 potential clients for real estate.
I love that.
Yeah, so my database is, I don't know how many, a lot. Lots and lots. And I just want to say one more thing too. I remember, because it wasn't that long ago, when I started working and I had a great first year, I remember when I got my phone call for someone that I already sold a house to. When you get that repeat business, it's almost like, oh my God, this really works. So I say every day, it's like fishing, because I own a charter boat business. So every day as a realtor, you're working. You have to bait hooks and throw them in the water and let them just sit out there. And before you know it, people start tugging on the line, and then the business starts coming in. So I'm busy to the point now that I don't really go out. The business is coming to me. Not that I don't chase it too, but it really is more coming to me because I've baited all the hooks and made all the opportunities out there for another day.
So ironically, last week, oh, go ahead, Paula. What were you going to say?
No, it's planting a seed. You know, it's very important to plant a seed, and then, you know, it'll come to you, you know, but you always have to stay on top of it.
Right. Well, ironically, you used a phrase a minute ago. You were like working. And our panelist last week, he has a phrase, always be working. And he just talked about how it's working that really pays dividends in real estate because everybody's a prospect or, you know, potential client. So, all right, Samantha. So how about you? Okay. So expanding a database. What's your favorite go-to to, hey, I want to put a little more people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I wrote a little list while Paula and Deborah were talking because a lot came to mind. And I just want to be very candid, like, and transparent. Like, this is exactly what I did. I sat down, I put an Excel spreadsheet together right away because I wasn't into Buffini at the time. I didn't know anything about him.
Mhm.
And I said, all right, who's my family? Who's my friends? Who's my friend's friends? Who's my sister's friends? My doctor, whatever. I don't think I put my doctor in, but, you know, people. And I loved that somebody had told me, you're not marketing to them. Because I'm like, I don't want to be pushy. Like, I feel like I'm good enough at my job where people will come to me. I don't need to shove it down their throat. And I was like, okay, I can justify reaching out to these people to say, hey, do you know of anybody that needs to buy or sell real estate? Keep me in mind of somebody that you know wants to sell or buy real estate, not can you sell or buy real estate from me? And it felt less abrasive, and that totally eased my mind. Second, I knew that 100 people I put in there likely wasn't going to buy or sell real estate. My grandmother's been in that house for 30 years, and my best friend just got married. They have no money, like whatever. So I said, you know what? I need some leads. I went to realtor.com. I called them. I said, I have $100 a month to spend. No more. That's it. Give me what you got. And they gave me, you know, cheap leads in the not nicest areas, but I worked them. Like, I picked up every phone call. I gave them a little like 30-second to a minute spiel about my value and why they need to sit with me, and that they're basically calling a buyer's agent that pays for these leads. Yep, I did that, but you need to sit down with me so I can go over the process with you, how I can help, all the money you have to come up with. We'll do a little consult, super informal. And usually they're, you know, every once in a while I get hung up on or whatever, but usually most people are like, oh my God, that's all we wanted. Nobody explains that to me. So then I grabbed them. Like, my first transaction in real estate was that realtor.com lead. No, I don't pay for them anymore. No, I don't want them anymore. But that's how I expanded. And then that one realtor.com lead, like my first sale, he sent me his mother, his fiance, and his cousin. So now I have one lead with his mother, fiance, and cousin that I'm all friends with now. I went to all their weddings. They're all now in my database, and now it's expanded from there even more. So that was one thing. The second thing is I'm super selective of who I put in there. Like, I have to have a conversation with you and have met you before you go in. I'm not going to pay for 17 leads or have 17 different people sign up at a wedding expo and just shove them in there. Like, I might send them a mailer, I might send them an email blast quick, but they're not like, to me, if we haven't had a conversation and you haven't met with me, you're not necessarily worthy of being in that database because I don't even know that you're loyal. I won't just, you know, send it to anybody. Like Buffini says, he sends you 100 mailers because those are your top 100 people. Even though you have 600 people in your database, you want to market to the 100 people that continuously get you business and want to work with you. The last question we had talked about, I said I gather their first name, last name, email, and phone number. Lately, now I'm like 5 years in now I do anniversaries and birthdays because they're so emotional, like, or in kids' birthdays too. Like, if you know their kids' birthdays, their birthdays, a wedding anniversary, the dog's birthday, like, there's just an emotion attached to that, and you make way more of an impression than like a Valentine's Day card. I think that's it. Sorry, I don't want to take up too much time. Yep, that's pretty much it. But
no, I love it. I love it. And you know what? I love seeing the organization come out in all three of you. And I know that's part of what makes you all so successful. But you're right about expanding anniversaries and birthdays. It's a reason to, slide number 3, engage with someone, right? It's a reason to engage. And comment on their Facebook page, send them a text, give them a phone call, do a quick little birthday video, happy birthday, you know, etc. So Samantha, we'll keep with you and we'll keep going back. So let's talk about engaging.
Okay.
What are some of your favorite things to do to engage your customers?
So my favorite thing to do is any of my clients that have pets, I will send like a dog treat in the mail or like a little bandana for them to wear, or I'll encourage them to come to my pet walk because I have a nonprofit. So that like, it's my favorite thing to do. But other than that, and most people, you know, have a pet or have somebody that has a pet, so they feel like you're not just talking about real estate, like you're actually listening to them and, you know, giving something to a pet that they love. So that's huge. I do 2 client appreciation events a year. I'm supposed to do one next month. I might just do one this year and one like little thing, but I try to do 2 a year, and I just go all out. Like I don't, you know, send an invite once and like sit and pray at a restaurant that people show up. Like there's a lot of organization behind it. There's a lot of decorations behind it. There's a lot of activity that it's just fun. So I do 2 client appreciation events. I send out a monthly mailer to my database, and I do only get 100 from Buffini, but I make copies and I send it to all of them. And then I send an email blast once a month. I also make a Facebook post on their home buying anniversary, on their birthday. As I see my clients' birthdays pop up on Facebook, they go right into my calendar. So that's how I keep track. I mean, it's going to take a long time for me to go backwards and find them all. So birthdays, anniversaries, 2 client appreciation events a year, a monthly mailer, and an email blast.
That's a great idea about the birthdays going on your calendar, and then you've got it moving forward. So like back to what Paula was saying, you're planting seeds for next year, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and you can do like wedding anniversaries. Like how many times do you see that your clients got, you know, married like on last Saturday? So you just go put it in there. Like don't paralyze yourself and not do anything because you've missed probably 50 other wedding anniversaries. Just start with that one. And then my client had a baby over the weekend, so I put the baby's birthday on the calendar. Now I know that. Like just little things. And what I use is Gmail calendar. There's just no easier way. So like I have the calendar that's attached to my Gmail, and then I have a separate calendar for birthdays, so I can choose to see it or not see it, so I'm not like bogged down. I have a separate calendar for deadlines, commitment dates, inspection dates. You can, again, check it off or not check it off. You could do wedding anniversaries. You could do anything, whatever, your bills.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Just the way like you can see a coworker's calendar and you see different, turn them on and off, right? So you turn.
Exactly what I do for it. But like you don't want to put birthdays on your regular calendar because
Right.
then you're going to get bogged down. I mean, if you look at my calendar, all those different colors. Oh, you can't see it, can you?
No. Nope. There we go.
All
All right.
those different colors are different calendars. It's so easy. That's what you have to do.
Awesome. I love it. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Okay. So Deborah, how about you? Engaging customers.
So I do 1 client appreciation event a year. But what I do, I think more specifically, is when you're the most top of mind with a client. For example, if someone's purchasing a home with you, I will go like the weekend that they're moving in, you know, their friends and family are going to be there. I sort of like check in on that, and I'll show up with, you know, a cooler of water. I'll bring pizzas. I'll bring, you know, whatever the time of year is. I'll certainly go in and spend time meeting their family because they already love you. And if they're telling you, you walk in like, oh, this is my realtor, she's awesome. You know, you're around maybe 10 plus people that are getting firsthand knowledge from somebody that you actually showed them the way you work. So I definitely heavily engage at the moment of a closing. And then even moving forward, I'm very connected to my clients, whether it be through Facebook or their charities that they favor. If I know that someone's sponsoring a walk, I do the walk. It's just owning their values. And if you think of it this way, I mean, so, you know, if you do 3 or 4 walks, that's not the worst thing you can do, number one. And number two, you're going to meet more people who, when you're around your clients, they're going to boast about you.
And introduce you as their realtor.
Absolutely. Right? So like I engage sort of that way, and I have different things I do throughout the year. I deliver pumpkins, and even if they're not home, I'll leave the pumpkin on the step with a card, and I do it by region. And Rhode Island's small, so you know we can do that in Rhode Island. But anyway, so I'll do little things like that. Or truthfully, I'm a very artistic mind, so I'll have an idea about something that comes over me, and I'm like, that's what I'm going to do, and then I do that. I may not do the same thing year after year. It's
Right.
what I feel passionate about at the moment. So that's what I do.
All right. So Paula, how about you? Engaging clients, like what are some of your favorite things?
I love to do the Popeyes, the Brian Buffini,
I'm not
learning
good at
that.
those, but that is a
Yeah,
really
I
good thing to do.
absolutely love doing the Popeyes. I try to do one quarterly, where I'll like bring my clients something.
Do that if it was quarterly. That's good.
Yeah, I like to do it quarterly. But I try to stay on top of it also, where same thing with going, you know, finding out when they're having a housewarming party. I like to contribute to their housewarming parties. I like to check in and seeing how, you know, if they've done any updates to the house. I just had one last week where I touched base with one of my clients that I just sold a house to. They're like, oh, we'll be doing the bathroom and kitchen, and I followed up and sure enough got pictures of it. You know, so I like to stay on top of, you know, my past clients and just saying, hey, how's the neighborhood? How's the house doing? Have you guys done anything? So pretty much, you know,
Yeah. I think
the
quarterly
Popeyes is my big thing.
That's huge, yeah. Because you're giving them something, so they feel like an emotion behind it. I think the easiest and the best way to sum up how to engage with clients is engage in something that makes, like something that they love, like something that makes them happy. Because if you put yourself in their shoes and you're a buyer and you're working with a realtor, there's nothing that's going to make more of an impression than somebody giving you something for your kid or your dog, or leaving you a pumpkin come, you know, Christmas, October and Halloween.
If you leave a pumpkin for Christmas, that'd be awesome.
Yes.
In fact, I might do that.
Love it. Okay, so real quick though, some specifics. Okay, so I have a question. Somebody's typed a question. I'm going to ask you in a second. But then specifics. How often do you try to stay in touch with your customers? How often do you communicate to them? Do you track it? Can you share any specifics?
I do twice a month. I do a mailer once a month, and then I do an email blast once a month. And if you use Buffini CRM, you will So for the CRM, it comes with the mailer. Like they mail it to my house. It's already there. So it comes with a mailer. It comes with a cover sheet. Like it's so easy. It also comes with a email blast that is the same as the mailer. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it complements the mailer. So you could easily use that, and I do use that. But then come September, when it's my pet walk, I don't use Buffini's, and I make it more personal. Come, you know, Halloween, when I'm having a Halloween party and I want my clients to come to an open house or whatever, I get rid of his and I use my own. So I would say at least twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month if I have a specific fundraiser I want them to know about, or if I have a client appreciation event. I also found that most of my clients they see them, but they don't respond to them because there's really no need to. But they do respond when I send like educational ones. Like last month, we all found out from like every lender in the state of Rhode Island that Rhode Island Housing did not have the $7,500 down payment assistance funds. So we got that knowledge. I know I did before the general public did. So then I sent that out to my 600 people in my database, and the amount of people that responded was just like crazy. And none of them were even buying, but they were like, oh, my sister's thinking of it. So now that engaged them to connect me with their sister. So that was really cool. Another one was like a tenancy form that I found online through the Rhode Island court, like the state court. They had like a termination of tenancy form, and it was like the formal form. So I just attached it as a PDF, emailed it out to 600 people. And, you know, half of them or a quarter of them have multifamilies. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been creating that myself and it doesn't look half as nice. And it was like just a value add to engage them.
Yeah, try to stay on top of it 2 to 3 times a month, I think is important. You know, again, stay on top of it.
But that's good.
Yeah, you don't want to be in their face all the time, but make it known.
I do all that. And the other thing too is there's nothing, you can't call everybody all the time, but so, you know, I work in my office. I have a home office and I live there, so I'm there all the time. So I often will think of someone and I'll just call them and just have a conversation. So you can never do too much. And I think as long as you remain sincere, stick to things that you're passionate about. Like, I don't probably want to jump out of a plane, so I'm not going to like have a jump out of the plane event for my clients. So as long as you keep it to something that you're really passionate about, people feel your energy and they feel that you're genuine. And if you're genuine in an event like that, then you're going to be that way in your transaction. And I think that speaks volumes.
That's awesome. Okay, so someone typed and asked a question. They said, can you ask them what their websites are? Just trying to get ideas. Thanks.
I don't have a website. I have the Home
Use
Smart
social
website.
media.
That's what
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do.
and then my fiance's been designing the website forever. I gotta get it together. But honestly, your website's great if you want like somebody, you meet somebody at the supermarket and you want them to go to your website and just like have a landing page and, you know, really figure out who you are because it's like created for you and it talks about your bio and it's got a picture of you and your husband, wife, kids, dog, whatever. And it just makes them feel warm and fuzzy about you. Like that's awesome. But I haven't done my own, and I think Facebook's enough sometimes. I mean,
Right.
I
Social
couldn't
media.
handle more business than I have right now, I feel like, and it's a lot of it's from Facebook. I just got an email the other day from a girl I went to high school with that doesn't even know me, but because people have seen and I've directed them to my Facebook page time and time again, it was enough.
Mhm.
But at some point when you get there and you have the time, the money, you know, there's no reason not to have one. Do it.
But you know what I'll say too? I actually have the Home Smart
Landing page,
website.
yeah.
But what I'll tell you is this, and I just am very like authentic about things. When people meet me or even my colleagues here, if you have an infectious personality and you make people feel good, everyone always says that to me. They're like, oh, I love running into you because you always make me feel good. If you make people feel good, you have to always be the person in their head that when they think real estate, it's you. So websites are great, but they don't care. They don't even know if I have a website. You have to connect with people on that level because this is the biggest transaction of their life. So they have to know that when they see you or they hear from you, that you make them feel awesome. And I think that just stays with people, even if you're not communicating with them all the time. If they're at an event and someone says, oh, my cousin's thinking about selling a house, they say, oh, you have to call Deborah. She's my realtor. She's awesome. That's kind of like what you want to leave people with. So I don't know so much that the website is,
Like you need it to be successful, but you should get one.
I wouldn't focus on that first. I would definitely focus on the business.
Mhm.
Yeah, one thing I did notice though, researching all of you, I did what a customer would do. I stalked you, right?
no.
You know, I emailed you. Or I searched you. So here's what I did. I found out all of you have Realtor.com profiles. You have Zillow profiles. You have, you know, your websites, your pages were all built out, different photographs. So kudos to you all because, you know, when I just Googled your names, different things came up, which is exactly what a customer would do. And that leads to engagement.
Yeah.
So just you have your bases covered.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the best advice I could give too is like you have a personal and a business page. And I feel like my database is on my personal page. They might like my business page or half of them do. But if you post on your personal page and you like link your business page to it, like you tag it that you were there, they're more likely to like both and follow both.
Mhm.
Right.
So, and that's enough of a presence as long as you have some kind of professional,
Right.
like landing page of sorts that says who you are.
Yep. All
Everyone's
right.
on
So,
social media
go
today,
ahead.
so- I said everyone's on social media today, so I think that's very important.
And
is to, you
Yeah,
know, be
I
on
think
there.
too, with regard to, even though I said like we don't really focus on that as much, but obviously have Zillow, like just do the basics, like just
That's
get
where they're
yourself
looking at
out there.
properties.
I have people constantly when I do a transaction, you know, a comment on my service to them and I post that on my Zillow. So have presence in all of those things, but to say you have to spend so much
I've
time
heard them,
developing
yeah.
them, just put your basic stuff out there and then just be done with that and just
Yep.
go sell real estate.
I love it. Okay, so another agent asked a question. Do they set up the entire year in advance? How do they do all of this by themselves or do they have assistants? So I think what they're talking about is your engagement and all these different things you're doing. You know, do you plan it out in advance? You set it up? Yeah.
So I do this all by myself. And I do plan it out in advance, but again, Buffini plans it for me. Like if it's November and I don't have a mailer or I don't have something creative done, he has this wonderful flyer that he gives you 100, you mail those out, or you make copies of them. If you have 300 people in your database, you mail all 300 out. They also have like a cover sheet over it. You fold it, you put your business card, you put a little token or whatever you want to put in there, and you mail it. Like there's not much, like you don't have to do a lot for that, but yes, you need to plan your client appreciation events.
Yeah.
You got to get those going well in advance. If you want to do anything for the holidays, you want to throw a holiday party or have them come pick up pies for Thanksgiving, like you got to call the local bakery or whatever and get that done. And what I do is like come January, I kind of have a system in place now. Like in April, I've done this for the last 2 years. I decided that the last day of April vacation was the best day to do a client appreciation event because people have their kids for that week and they're taking them here, there, and everywhere. And then they have school on Monday. So they don't really know what to do with them that last Sunday. It's kind of wrapping up the whole April vacation. So that was a really good day for a client appreciation event. So I do a kid event then. And then come November, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, I did another event. This year, it's just going to be pies. So if you pick 2 events or 1 event, whatever that looks like, put it on the calendar and then keep it there and just kind of keep repeating it. You don't want to do different months every year. Your clients won't know to expect it.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So let's talk real quick about harvesting. All right. Harvesting. So, at times you have people that you're engaged with and you're talking to them and you're having communication back and forth. But I've also seen some agents that they have a very skillful way of getting people to engage versus waiting on it to come to them. So what they're doing, while they're engaging with them, they're getting them to take it to the next level and actually begin working. And that's what I call the harvesting, right? So, somebody that you're engaging with, but you actually get them to say, yes, I would like to go look at homes, or I am thinking about selling, so do you have some insights into that where key questions that you ask to get people to get off the fence?
I'll share something that happened. So I'm a big open house person. When I list, and when you list your properties, and I could even talk to you for hours just about the whole listing process, but when you list a property, that's your stage presence for future business. So for example, I do my open houses. I have riders open Monday, open Tuesday, open Wednesday, every day of the week. So I might do an open house on a Thursday night from 5:30 to 7. If it's dark, I light candles. If it's October, I might have some jack-o'-lanterns out front. So it's always being creative like that. But I had a couple come through an open house and they liked the house that I'm selling, but it may not be for them. So we started talking and they told me that their house was on the market with an agent. So I was like, oh, okay. So obviously I'm not going to pursue them. And so I said, okay. And they said, but we would actually like to work with you to buy a house, just through the conversation we had, about what they do for a living and whatever. So I immediately sent them an email that evening, thanking them for coming to my open house. They shared with me who their lender is, whom I know. So I immediately wrote to them and just said, I just want to reiterate that you are not working with an agent to buy. And they're like, no, we're not. So I already contacted the lender with, copies to them. We're well in communication. And this is just from Saturday. And we already have appointments set up to go look at houses. And I already have the pre-approval letter. So you can't, when I say be aggressive, don't be like crazy aggressive that people will call the police on you. But you have to be aggressive. You have to take advantage of the opportunities. And I remember when I first started 6 years ago, I said to my broker at the time, it's almost like you're a dog chasing a car that comes down the street. You're that dog and you have to chase every single car that comes down the street because somewhere is going to be business for you. So you have to be aggressive like that. You can't wait because a lot of times the client doesn't even know that you can help them. They don't even know what they need. They don't even know a lot about what they're doing. So
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that I think that was just one example of harvesting, just like I mentioned about vetting that tenant with the application. The opportunities are everywhere. You have to just continuously think business and think helping people. It's all about helping people. The houses are just what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So how about percentages or metrics or, an idea of numbers? I mean, when you're talking, I know when you first started out, you had to talk to 20 people, to get an appointment, as you're growing in your career, are the percentages, increasing?
Much easier.
Yeah, it's at a point where it just comes to you, which is something I never thought would happen. It just did. Like my first year, I did 10 transactions. I had 2 other jobs. I called every single online lead, and then whatever came in organically through friends and family, because I was trying to stay top of mind, I took. But, I probably closed 3 friends and families, and 7 of them, 7 online leads, whatever that was. But after that, the next year, I think I did 40. The next year I did close to 50. And, you're not chasing leads and doing that kind of volume. It's people are saying, oh, Sam Duran sells real estate, or I used her, my cousin used her, because I stayed top of mind here, and they're clearly having conversations about me. What I do to get people off the fence is, one, I don't feel desperate to. I'm not like, oh my God, I need to work with them. I want them to want to work with me. Like, we're so busy, and you're only going to get busier if you're good at your job, that you can't waste time. And I mean that in a nice way. You can't waste time with people that aren't serious. So what I feel is that people want to work with you if you're willing to add value in regards to the education. They're so like just blind and like not sure where to go, where to start. They're so afraid of getting like, I don't know, like having a bad experience or losing money or not having the right advocate in their corner. So if you can say, look, come into my office or meet me for coffee. You have 3 kids? Fine, I'll meet you at your house after work, whatever. Come in, let's do a buyer's consult. We're going to go over the entire process, how I'm going to help you, all the money you have to come up with. I know you sat down with your lender, but you're still asking questions about closing costs. Let's go over it. Let's break it down to a science so that you are completely set in regards to expectations. And you'll either leave that meeting saying, oh my God, that's so much more than I anticipated. It's not the right time, which is fine, because they're going to find me later for making that clear. Or, you know what, I feel well-versed now. There's nobody I want to work with other than you, because you took the time, you educated me. Nobody else even asked to do it. They just asked me what house I wanted to see. And then you've made a friend. Like, I can't tell you how many weddings and baby showers I've gone to, because there's a level of trust there. And that's how you harvest it. And if you can't get them off that fence, and they don't want to buy.
Right.
Or sell.
I'm also going to add to your point, it's also knowing the market and how well the market does. I had somebody a couple of years ago, they wanted to put their house on the market and they were going to be at a loss. So I reached out to them this year, and I was able to make a $40,000 profit, just knowing that the market was doing a lot better now. So,
Yeah, if you're educating them, that's huge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as a wrap up here real quick, these are all, I've got a list here of ideas and tips and insights. I thank you all for sharing your stories, and I've just gotten so much out of our conversation. So thank you for that. One takeaway. Okay, we've been talking about database, engaging our sphere. So if there's 1 or 2 things that you really want our audience to know and remember and take away from spending time on the webinar today, what might that be?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Mine's just get organized. Like, I don't know. Yes, I have the personality for it. Yes, I have the knowledge for it. I took every class available to make sure I was well versed. I didn't assume anything, but the number 1 thing is get organized. Get that database together. Put it down in writing. Go find your client appreciation date. It's next April the 15th, whatever that looks like, and start designing your invites now. It's not too early. Put another reminder in your calendar. Send out the invites March 15th. It doesn't matter. Just get it done, especially now. The holidays are coming, so you have a little bit of free time. So get organized. Get your database together. Put 1 client appreciation event on the books. I don't know, if you want to send 3 mailers out a year, like, that's fine. Just do it and get organized, and that'll definitely help you launch into a whole nother level of business.
So I'll add to that. So everything she said, but what I would like you to take away, because especially wherever you are in your career, if you're a brand new agent, wherever you are in your career, I find that the best thing I can say is keep balance in your life. So you have to find the time for the things that are important to you. This business can consume you. My first year in the business, I literally was at the office day and night. Thankfully, I work out of the home most of the time now, but make sure that you spend proper time with your family. Go to the gym if that's what you like to do. Be involved with your church or whatever it is you like to do, but you really, really have to find the time to stay balanced, because that's when you're happy. And when you're happy, people want to hang out with you or want to talk to you because you kind of have your stuff together. Even so far as keeping your life organized. And that might be a big task for some. I just got done cleaning my attic and my basement, so that wasn't fun. But when everything is in order, you appear much more confident, calm, and just happy and collected. So I would leave you with the balance portion of it.
And what I'm going to add is just stay on top of mind. We all live busy lives. We're always busy, always on the go. But my thing is always stay on top of mind, you know, with your clientele.
Top of mind.
Very important.
Yeah. Doesn't need to be every day. I think that's
Right.
what people get. It could be once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, someone asked the question, what did you do for the client appreciation event in April?
That was my best one. I'm going to do it every single year. Like, it was amazing. So let me tell you, last year I did a movie theater. So I rented out a movie theater, filled it up. It was fun. It was okay. And it was easy. Like, nobody had to talk to each other because all my clients don't know each other. So that was really fun. But last year was the best one. And it was this gym in Warwick, Rhode Island. And it's a big giant facility. Half of it is a gym. They do like personal training. And the other half's like they call it like a jungle almost, like a ninja warrior course. And I know you might not have that where you are, but there could be something similar to it. And what I did was I rented it out. I bought a ton of pizza, drinks. One side we had some food, and on the other side we had the ninja warrior course. And I had all my clients bring their kids, and we divided the kids up into different age groups. They played, I want to say, for like about an hour. And I mean, at first, you know, they were all like a little bit awkward, but after like a couple Duck Duck Goose games and stuff, they warmed up. They all played for an hour. We had music going. And then after that, they ate. And then after that, they came back, and we divided them up into age groups, and we had them do a ninja course, and we gave them little awards and stuff. I also thought about like Sky Zone. That's a really good one to do. Mm-hmm. You rent out the gym. They all kind of come and bounce around. But if you can gear it towards kids, your clients are going to show up. They don't know what to do with their kids every night, every day. Like, it's something fun to do where they can come and hang out and their kids are there. If you're not going to invite their kids, now you're asking them to leave their kids, right, get a sitter, and it's a lot more difficult to get the RSVPs that way. So if you want to connect with me on that, I can send you whatever I have.
Awesome. Well, I think I thank all of you for joining us here today. I'm going to do a quick little recap and point everybody in the right direction. I think one of the things, my takeaway from talking to all of you is work, is action. You all are all three women of action, I can tell. And that's kind of what leads me into my next slide here. I love it because it's like, you know, this week, what do we have? We have multiple options, right? And I covered this last week. Option number one is we can do nothing. You know, we can basically do nothing and just, hey, it was great ideas, but it's not going to impact your business at all. What were you going to say?
People get paralyzed, and I'm definitely guilty of it too. Oh my God, Samantha said so much. I'm not doing any of it because it's paralyzing. Like, just do something. Like, just put one in wedding anniversary in the calendar, and then you'll remember to do the next.
Right.
I love it. And that's, do something. So one approach is, last week we talked about building, and then expanding is topic 2. So this week, just focus on expanding, right? Just use all the ideas you heard and focus on expanding. Another option is do all of it, build, expand, engaged, and harvest, and pick a couple of those ideas. But what I'd like you to do right now, if you spent the time today and listened, I want you to write down on a sheet of paper what you're going to do, that you're going to at least do a couple things, you know, and just put a Post-it note on your computer to remind yourself to do something. Have any of you ever done something like that?
Post-it notes?
Post-it notes or reminders or something that's a daily reminder to take action.
I have alarms on my phone that go off for various things, but it's being around us in person is a little crazy. Okay?
It's on my calendar. That's
I'm not gonna lie.
I love it. Okay, so thank you, everyone, and go to Smart Agent Ideas and join or share your results. Now, before we get off the phone, though, we are doing a winner every week for participants around the country. So this week's winner, we drew right before the webinar started. This week's winner was Sherry Hood, Home Smart Preferred Realty. All right, in Canyon City.
With it.
What was that?
She should go invest that in her business.
I like it. Yes. All right. So Sherry Hood, congratulations. Thank you, Rhode Island, all of you for being with us today. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Can't wait to see you again. Let's go build our database and our sphere of influence, everyone. I'm Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer for HomeSmart International. And check in with us next Monday, one more Millionaire Monday next week. And we're going to be week 3 of Database Millionaire. So Samantha, Deborah, Paula, thank you so much. Give Nivea a hug for me for setting all this up too. So, all right, see you all. Take care.